BF21 is sponsored by the Climate Council of Greater Kansas City and KKFI 90.1 FM, Kansas City Community Radio. This is composting food waste, trying to stop it. Please welcome your host, Stan Slaughter.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be with you today. Thanks, Bob, the Climate Council, for putting this Earth Day Festival on. It's not my first Earth Day, but it's one of the best because I get to talk to you about composting, and it's such a powerful topic. About 4 years ago, I found my dream job with Missouri Organic Recycling as a garden and education specialist. And I've been reaching out and helping people get gardens started and for a service called Sudden Gardens, and going to meetings and networking about compost. Perfect for me. I love it. The title is Composting Food Waste and Trying to Stop It. It's kind of a Yogi Berra dangling participle there, but you get the idea. And it's an important thing. We're trying to talk about why. We talk about the drawdown book, the idea of what are the best solutions. Compost is number 3, food waste number 3, and compost is right in there. So I work for Missouri Organic Recycling. It's a 27-year-old company founded by the Anderson family, and they're a great bunch of people. Imagine what it would take to keep a 27-year-old company alive with your family members. Except that we've been joined by a whole bunch more people. So we now have 92 employees. There are 6 locations. We have a public-private partnership with the city of Kansas City. So we take all the brown paper bags full of leaves. We take all the brush, all the down trees in the parks, and we're open in 5 locations where you can actually bring yard waste and brush, and then big trees. Of course, we make a lot of mulch. We supply mulch to the whole region directly through direct sales and through wholesalers. And we sell directly with Sutherland Lumber. We also make compost, garden mix, raised bed garden mix, topsoil blends, rooftop for skyscrapers blends, special architect blends. So we do everything we can to serve the people's need, kind of complete that cycle from materials that are headed to the landfill. And we're going to create a long-term problem with methane in the landfill, and we're able to convert that. So I'm going to play a video for you today and kind of stop it. It's only 3 minutes long, but we're going to make it last about 15 because there's a lot to see in it and a lot to say. So I'm going to share my screen. And it says share sound. That's good. I'm going to enable the Q&A. That's good. And here comes that screen.
We've been doing food waste compost since 2005. Until today, you're looking at 465 million pounds of food waste we've composted. That's enough food waste to fill Arrowhead Stadium. So this nature-wise compost...
Stan, you pulled the slideshow off to where we can't see it.
Uh-oh. I'm sorry.
That's better, thanks.
All right, thanks, Bob.
We've been doing food waste compost since 2005. Until today, you're looking at 465 million pounds of food waste we've composted. That's enough food waste to fill Arrowhead Stadium. So this nature-wise compost is the material we put back in the community that goes from farm to table to compost, back to farm, back to table again. This is completing the circle.
I'd like to talk a bit about Kevin Anderson. This is Kevin. He's our Vice President of Marketing and Sales. We are looking at the facility we have down in Liberty, and this facility is where we take the ground up leaves that we collect from all over the city, and we bring it down to this facility and have them at the ready. And we take the food waste that we collect. We have 3 route trucks, and they run Monday, Tuesday, 3 routes. They run Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Those trucks collect from up to 300. COVID has changed this, but up to 300 sources throughout the Kansas City metro, from Lawrence to Warrensburg and up to St. Joseph. And then we also recently, with the kind of as the COVID came on, we had both Kroger and Dillon's join us. So we have truckloads of food waste from the Dillon's grocery chain come to us from Hutchinson, Kansas every day. So Kevin is explaining our facility down there in Liberty.
One of 10 facilities in the United States that has one of these machines, this Tiger.
This is a Italian-based machine. And as you can imagine, Europe is way ahead of us in terms of using food waste primarily for anaerobic digestion. And of course, gives you a renewable fuel, a green carbon gas, and then also the material that comes out of an anaerobic digester is still good for using in compost. So this machine is a very unusual machine. It grinds everything. You can see the cardboard, the plastic that comes in, that's about 14% of what we get. It grinds it, it adds liquids. We have a retention pond that collects the liquids on our site. We use that water, natural pond water, but we also get juices. We get about 1,200 gallons of Boulevard beer every week. Can't drink it, it's the bad stuff. It's the dregs of the big tanks, but we use those liquids to liquefy our food waste, and then we grind it and spit out the plastic and the cardboard.
Packager. We are the only facility in the United States that does it this way. So as you can see behind me, the plastic is falling on the floor. It goes to waste to energy. The food waste gets pumped into tanks.
Okay, we're going to back up just a little bit. Those green tanks behind Kevin hold 26,000 gallons of food waste. If you can imagine, it's not a beautiful thing, because in one way it is, but food waste in a liquid like that can be smelly, and it will make its own methane gas. And storing that could be a problem. Also, the solids from the grinding and the liquids will separate, kind of like curds and whey. And so the idea is we've got to mix that up. And Kevin designed this system to put compressed air into the tanks at the bottom, bubble up through the tanks, keep it oxygenated, and keep it stirred. The Anderson family has a history of being race car drivers, and they're very great mechanically. They own all their own equipment. They have 4 full-time mechanics, and they solve this problem and many others with their own ingenuity. And they're a great gift to the city.
The food waste gets pumped into tanks that you see, and then into the mix.
I'm going to back up again. I've got to stop faster. The short little elevator or conveyor you see takes it straight out of the mixer, and then it joins into a much larger one that
and then into the mixer.
Okay, we'll see that again, but I wanted to show you the semi-trailer that's coming in. It's bringing in food waste from Hutchinson. These are reusable, washable pallets, totes that we can break down, sterilize, wash, and send back to Hutchinson. They go out to the Kroger chain regionally, and we get all their food waste, including the meat scraps, the fat. We can compost that in our industrial operation. So keeping this food waste out of the landfill is critical. We're only collecting about 5% to 8%, maybe 8% of what the metro produces. Metro produces 1 million pounds of food waste a day. So we're still building in a material that's between 30 and 80 times worse than carbon dioxide that's going to come up out of our landfills in the next 30 to 40 years. We have to reduce this. And Missouri Organic is doing the best we know how to grow our capacity and increase our collection. If you look at this red mixer, you can see a liquid pouring into the tank. And that red liquid, is the food waste. We pump about 1,000 gallons into that tank, and about 15 cubic yards, or about 6 tons of ground up leaves, and they're mixed. And this is what no one else in the country does. Composting occurs on a little thin surface, and that having a liquid nitrogen material, the food waste, with the brown material means that our compost takes off extremely rapidly, cooks very, very well. Think about a big squash or other kinds of food waste coming in pieces. This is the ultimate particle size reduction, which makes a great, great compost.
Creates the compost mix.
And there's the conveyor I was waiting to see. This is a ring of about 6,000 cubic yards that we make about every week. And we haul that off into the windrows where it sets and gets turned and matures in about 6 weeks. Is ready to use in about 8 weeks total. And the demand is amazing. With COVID and people wanting to get back to their gardens and get outside, we are really pushing it to make as much as we can for you guys.
Compost takes about 6 to 8 weeks. And then all the stuff you see behind me also is going to waste to energy. So it goes to a...
So the plastic and the cardboard, they're wet. They couldn't normally be recycled, but we come up with a system where we grind up old pallets into small pieces, wood chips, mix the dry wood with the wet cardboard and plastic, turn it into a fuel that goes to a cement kiln. And cement kilns are looking for inexpensive fuel. They buy that material from us and then use it to cook the rocks down into cement to become the concrete that we use. And so none of our material that comes in goes to the landfill. So it's zero waste to landfill. And this is an interesting phenomenon because really people, big corporations have brokers that take the waste and are charged with taking it to the greenest possible disposal. And when they can find a zero waste to landfill disposal option, that's a premium. And we're literally having competition to get into our facility to have the material composted and zero waste.
Cement plant where it gets burned for energy.
From the very beginning of this site, Missouri Organic has been a partner with us. So we've gotten, hundreds of yards of compost. We've gotten wood chips. Basically any resource that we've asked for, they've always been here to.
This is Dan Krull. He's the farm manager for Cultivate Kansas City. This is Westport Commons Garden at the old site of Westport Middle School. It's now called the Plex Pod. It's an open system kind of officing that's been using for the whole building. Dan's a great gardener and he's been using our material to rebuild this former football field into a really fertile garden.
Deliver and help us get this project going.
Yeah, that took maybe 20 minutes with the blower, so.
We have a partnership with Jim Shipley and Westmark Landscaping, and Jim has a blower truck. So when we need someone who wants delivery and placement of the material, Jim just comes over and loads up his material at our shop and goes out and blows it in place. Very fast, very efficient way to do it.
Pretty cool.
In 2011, the Kansas City Chiefs started collecting organic materials from Arrowhead Stadium. We've partnered for over 9 years with Missouri Organic and collected over 1,261 tons of organics. We challenge our fans not only to help us compost at Arrowhead Stadium, but also in their daily lives.
I'm the educational arm for Missouri Organic Recycling. About a year ago, we built a poster, a diagram called Food Too Good to Waste.
Well, Missouri Organics had a strong commitment in education from the very first, and this is a key part of that. The Food Too Good to Waste program is started with this poster and then a website to match it. And the website is a great educational resource. So foodtoogoodtowaste.com.org. You can, if you try, you will get there. We have a whole bunch of URLs that will get you into the site. But basically it illustrates the idea that Missouri Organic's on the upper right, and we're collecting food waste and yard waste from all over the area. We're kind of the bottom side of the cycle, taking things that were headed and moving them around and returning them to the useful and very important uses within the community. So our compost goes out to farms, goes out to community gardens. And in this poster, you see the farmer's crop coming into an industrial processing plant where it's made into corn flakes. It goes out to the grocery store, and then the grocery store's got a truck going out the front with donations. It's got food scraps that it can't be used again anymore. We've got Missouri Organic trucks picking up brown paper bags. There's a food bank where the donations go, restaurants, schools, a community garden, and an anaerobic digester, which is ideally on the front side of all this food waste, and then composting. In the upper corner, there's a little thing that says, feed people, feed animals, make compost, make power. So the food waste hierarchy is included in all of this. So this year, we wrote a grant from the state of Kansas.
It's kind of the ideal
And,
food recovery system for Kansas City. We're using the poster, the song, and the website to teach kids all over the metro and all over the country. Adults too. It's win, 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 win. When you do things right, the benefits kind of cascade.
Yo, I got a story about a problem we are facing. We're creating and maintaining a big mess across the nation. It's a problem with the food. Almost half is wasted, left till it's outdated. Goodness never tasted it. Food too good to waste. It starts with preparation, the peeling and the chopping, work that must be done. Not a lot of fun, but the battle to be won is to keep it out of the dump. Food too good to waste. 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 Yeah.
So that educational piece, that's my alter ego as the eco troubadour, singing for kids in assemblies for many, many years. And as I went to those schools all over the state of Kansas for 17 years, I sang for kids. I was excited. We talked about things. We showed what food waste and composting could be like. And then I left. And I've always wanted to do something more substantial. So with my partner, Katie White, we have written a curriculum on composting. It started about a year ago when COVID hit, and we realized we needed an educational outreach that could go straight to teachers in this time. And so we developed this 5 lessons and 5 videos that go in first. You watch the video. Actually, you take a pre-test first, watch the video, to do the lessons. And these lessons are on Google Docs. You're able to teacher able to download them. Introductory questions are there for her, easy to use. And we're having tremendous feedback from the schools all over Kansas that are doing this. We've now expanded into solid waste districts in Missouri. And we believe this actually can do a great job in teaching this, because in contrast to when I did an assembly, it was 45 minutes and gone. This is 5, 6, 8 hours, depending on the project that they choose to do. A worm bin, a compost pile at the school, a food waste audit of the food at the school, or a restaurant off-site. All kinds of projects that kids love to get out of class. They love to do their own investigations, and something that's meaningful in the real world. And composting really appeals to a lot of kids because they understand how important it is. It's kind of mysterious, very cool. And so this is the verdict is that composting puts a solid educational piece in a unit, in a school. We're planning to go back to the second year. We believe that after a teacher uses this for a couple of years and gets familiar with the science-based standards that they're teaching when they do this unit, they'll be, educators unfortunately have to meet that test. And so when they follow our class, do our unit, they're going to be well-versed in the science standards for their grade. So we believe we're going to be bringing it to the Kansas City Metro this year. We're excited about that. we do, part of it is worm bins. There were some questions about worm bins in an earlier session. You can just email me, stan@missouriorganic.com. We're buying worm bins wholesale and selling them to the state of Kansas schools. So if you have any questions about how to get a worm bin started, you can email stan@missouriorganic.com. But can you tell I'm excited about this? The point is, we're going to build a constituency for composting and food waste reduction. Half of all our food waste comes from homes. Businesses may make financial sense for them to do it. Homeowners, they may have to do a little more involvement, a little more idea that they should be doing something important for the environment. That's trending too. But the point is, we want to offer this education, build a community of composters that really starts to attack this problem. Kansas City has a wonderful food hub, wonderful group of local producers, healthy organic markets. By the way, come to the Brookside Farmers Market, just one block north of south of Border Star Elementary. On May 1st, we're going to raffle off a worm bin. A tremendous food hub system coming together in Kansas City after all the years that we've been working on it. Yay, let's make it a composting hub also. So I see some questions in the chat. If you like these questions, you can vote them up or down. Okay, Bob says, how do you control cross-contamination from plastic residues? Is there an issue with microplastic residues? Well, most of the plastic we have comes in whole. We grind it once, so we're not washing it with detergent. We grind it once, it has a quick exposure to liquid, and it's ejected. So I would say, compared to many other ways that would generate a lot of plastic residues, this is not doing a great deal of that. And the piece of plastic that might go through the composting process would be about half the size of a postage stamp, and it would be the thinnest kind of plastic you could find, very thin wrapping plastic. We very rarely see that. So we're at 99.9% rejection of those materials. So thanks, Bob, for the question. Yeah, the compost is analyzed continually, monthly, and there's very little to see. People ask us about GMOs, and this kind of reflects a misunderstanding of what's going on. GMOs are giant proteins, and compost has got enzymes from those bacteria that chop GMOs up. There's no such thing as a GMO in compost, because we're down to the Legos, down to the tiny building blocks, the amino acids and proteins it takes to build new life. And a nucleic acid like that is completely disassembled in compost. Okay. Can you bring your composting program to my kids' school? We can do it for free in Kansas. I have an assembly, a short-term program, but the longer-term program has some needs for funding. We have some ways to get sponsors that we're looking at. Local businesses. It's not exorbitant, and it's kind of a very good public relations thing to do with your publicity money, and it's solid. People like it. It's something concrete that they can do. So those were 3 good questions. You've got a few more seconds to send one if you've got time. Let me see where we are. We're actually in pretty good shape. If we look at my notes for just a second. Yeah, one of the sections in the film showed dumping of material into the garden. We do donate about $60,000, about 2,000 cubic yards of material to gardens, churches, nonprofits, community gardens, as I say. And we want to be a good public citizen. We want to do a good job helping people know what's going on with the actual physical product. We have these little 5-pound bags of compost. We give away 25 or 30 of them every Sunday at Brookside Farmers Market. You can come by and get some of that. But the point is, actually, if we sponsor the Brookside Farmers Market as well, we're trying to get this out there. Composting is critical at this time to reduce the methane in the landfill and to build the sequestration that comes when we build rich soil. Not only is that compost in the soil helping bacteria to grow and produce better food, but that the carbon that's sequestered in the plants and then back into the soil is a great double fix for climate. It's a thrill to be here my second year on the Climate University Talk. If you have any further questions, you can go back to Stan at stanslaughter.com. I have one more follow-up question. Have you made any use of biochar in your composting systems? We're very excited about biochar. Started 3 years ago with a specially formulated compost called Green Frontier compost. Green Frontier. And the idea is that if you put charcoal in the soil, charcoal in the compost, it will have that porous nature, makes it a great filter. That porous nature will hold water in those tiny pores, hold bacteria in those tiny pores, collect minerals in there. And so it's like a condo, a coral reef on which a lot of life can accumulate. So Green Frontier has 15% biochar, which is an amazing total. Good results come at 3, 5, 8%, 10% of biochar in the soil, but we have Green Frontier, which is 15%. It also has some other very beneficial ingredients, including basalt minerals, so a very rich complex of minerals too. So Bob, thanks for those questions. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Barbara. Yes, she says, any educational programs for neighborhoods? I'm actually speaking to a large group in Blue Springs coming up on the 1st of May. But I give my slideshow, I come out in person. I'm double vaccinated. I could come out and give you a slideshow and a presentation. I'll sing you a song. But yeah, the slideshow in person gives you a lot more ideas of how this all goes. It's kind of a composting 101, gets everybody back up off of zero. And then the questions that come out of that are just dynamite. So I've always enjoyed doing that for people. I've been to a lot of the garden clubs around the metro, and neighborhood association would be fine. All these programs are free, and I'm glad to do them. Let me see. Okay, that one popped off, but yeah, we do those free programs routinely. That's my job. And it's so much fun to see the lights go on when people understand that, wow, this is all connected. And compost is like an octopus. It's connected in so many ways. So is there a project in Lawrence? Well, the Lawrence Sustainability Council is all over biochar and composting. Just was on the Kansas State Composting Conference yesterday, Tuesday, and met the new operator. She's actually about 4 years on the job. Megan is her first name. I can't recall her last name, but she's running the compost operation in Lawrence, and they're doing a much better job than in the past. So I think you can get good compost like that. And I've gone as far as Lawrence to do my program in the past. I'd be glad to come out there, but it's a great community builder. And so it's something that I would really encourage you guys in Lawrence to take care of. So thanks for listening, everyone. I appreciate your time. Thanks to the Climate Council. Glad we joined it. It's been a great organization. I get to meet a lot of wonderful activists who are working on this critical topic. So it's Earth Day. I was out with my students in 1970, cleaning up the grounds at Lee Summit Junior High School. But now we've got a huge constituency for composting, and I love to see it. I'd love to see all this project progress. So much fun. Thank you.